Coming up on this edition of Southwest TV News. It was another busy summer across Saskatchewan for tourism, and the Maple Creek Visitor Centre is marking a successful run after facing closure earlier this year. Southwest Saskatchewan is home to numerous artists, many of which are often showcased at the Art Gallery of Swift Current. Such is the case with this stunning exhibit featuring the work of Maple Creek's own Geoff Phillips. Métis culture was in the spotlight at the Swift Current Museum as George Fayant of Regina demonstrated his skills as a Red River cart builder. Thanks for joining us here today. The Maple Creek Visitor Centre enjoyed a busy summer season with hopes of reopening again next year. It was another busy summer across Saskatchewan for tourism, and the Maple Creek Visitor Centre is marking a successful run after facing closure earlier this year. The Maple Creek Visitor Centre, located along the Trans-Canada Highway, was one of several centres set for closure due to financial cuts in the provincial budget. However, thanks to an operating grant from Tourism Saskatchewan and an investment from the town of Maple Creek, the centre was granted one more summer of operation. And to better promote the centre and the surrounding area to travelers, a few enhancements were made to its main drawing card, the washrooms.
Yes, here at the Visitor Centre, we've not only tried to ensure that the washrooms are indeed some of the cleanest along the Trans-Canada Highway, but we've also tried to make the washrooms a bit of an immersive experience. We've done bathroom wraps, we call them. They're basically big photographic murals inside the washrooms that give people a sense of what it's like once they get into the Cypress Hills, the lodgepole forest that's just over the hill from here. And the other thing that we've tried to do with the Visitor Centre is give people a taste of what Maple Creek and the Cypress Hills area is all about through offering fresh baking from some of the local bakeries in town, through the pop-up stores, some of which you can see behind me. We've got representative examples of the downtown shopping experiences that people can have.
Eddie John says that 2017 has proven to be one of the best years of attracting visitors to the centre, with over 22,000 walk-ins to the end of August, with many of those travelers deciding to drive into Maple Creek, which has been welcomed by the local business community.
Well, I think the Visitor Centre has been a tremendous opportunity to showcase a town, and it has brought people downtown that wouldn't have been here otherwise, and in return has impressed people with, the town has impressed people with all of the opportunities and shopping and dining experiences that are here that just would have been missed otherwise. Our sales have gone up dramatically. A lot of that, I would say, is due to the Visitor Centre, and it has just gotten people talking about it, and that has done a lot for bringing people into the store and also just referrals.
And now with the 2017 pilot year completed for the Maple Creek Visitor Centre, Eddie John says the paperwork will be filed with the province to state the centre's case to reopen again in 2018. With hopes of securing operational funding from various sources.
We'll have a better sense once all the numbers are crunched exactly how much it costs to operate this. Certainly, I think the cost is beyond what the town of Maple Creek is perhaps prepared to cover in perpetuity. So if there's ways that we can look at regional partnerships or grants or other ways of operating the Visitor Centre to offset costs, we'll certainly do that.
The Maple Creek Visitor Centre is located along the Trans-Canada Highway near the junction of Highway 1 and 21 and is now closed for the season. Mark October 18th through 21st on your calendar and plan to attend the CCA Finals Rodeo in Swift Current. The top cowboys and cowgirls will compete in all of your favorite rodeo events, vying for the CCA Championship title. And wrap up your weekend with the CCA Finals Rodeo Cabaret, featuring Sweet Tequila. Get your tickets now for the CCA Finals Rodeo, October 18th through 21st in Swift Current. A new exhibit at the Art Gallery of Swift Current features plants from across the prairies. We find out more in this report. Southwest Saskatchewan is home to numerous artists, many of which are often showcased at the Art Gallery of Swift Current. Such is the case with this stunning exhibit featuring the work of Maple Creek's own Geoff Phillips. Landscapes of the Prairies brings together the colorful flowers and other plant life found at various Southwest destinations, including the Cypress Hills, Grasslands National Park, Great Sandy Hills, and the Frenchman River Valley, all coming to life through a unique creative process.
If you can imagine the painting as raw canvas that you buy on a roll, I actually tear off a piece the size that I need and pack it with me on my mountain bike or my hiking gear and go out on the trails. And then when I find my subject matter, in this case I was hunting for different species of plants that I hadn't maybe seen before, I unfurl that canvas right on the ground and weight it down with rocks. And I kind of end up walking all over it, but I pack with me my brush and a tin of brown acrylic paint that I have in. And I walk all over the canvas really, and I draw my subject matter with the paint, and with that brown paint and my brush. I draw some basic lines and form the composition. And then I fold up the canvas and bring it back to my shop and stretch it on the stretcher bars, the frames that I build, and start the painting process there. I challenge myself and challenge others to look what's growing underfoot, which is oftentimes overlooked.
And now that Geoff Phillips has completed this series of paintings after 1.5 years, the complete exhibition now adorns the walls of the Art Gallery of Swift Current, an exhibition which was carefully laid out piece by piece by the gallery staff.
There's a little bit of experimentation with that. They're laid out and spaced and then juggled a little bit in terms of that one looks better between those two or something to this effect. And you're really just looking at kind of rhythms and harmonies around the room and how that comes across. And then in terms of how it may have worked out, seasonally, I think that's because the works, paired nicely. I mean, you could see that they had a relationship in the subject matter, but that also translated in the color and the light that was occurring, and so it came together quite naturally, that whole seasonal thing.
A diverse series of paintings which were recently showcased during the Meet the Artist Night at the Art Gallery and left the crowd with a better appreciation of Geoff Phillips and his work.
I thought it was very interesting. I learned a lot about Geoff that I didn't know as an artist. I know Geoff as a friend and, maybe see him on a little side where he's not maybe as shy as he was tonight. But the one thing that I did learn is a lot more perspective on his artwork and what it means to him and what it's all about.
He's been painting at the CM Glasscock building in Maple Creek at the museum there. So it's been interesting to be able to see the paintings evolve over time from being very rough sketches on canvas to now finished and beautiful work in the art gallery here.
And as Geoff Phillips looks to the future in his artistic career, he'll continue to operate the Art House in Maple Creek and pack his bags for an exciting trip where he'll meet other artists from across the country.
I get to join the Canada C3 team. I'll be, it's a signature Canada 150 project where the Canadian government has purchased an icebreaker vessel that set sail in the beginning of June from Toronto, and they've been heading up and around through Canada's 3 coasts, up through the Northwest Passage and then back around Alaska and back down to Vancouver. And I'm joining them for 10 days off the coast of BC in about a week's time as an artist. So the trip is broken up into 15 legs of the trip. I'm going to be there for leg 14. And there's been 15 artists chosen to represent the country. And I'll be taking, much like I talked about, taking my raw canvas with me and making paint sketches to bring home into my studio and to finish into paintings at home.
Plantscapes of the Prairies by Geoff Phillips is on exhibit at the Art Gallery of Swift Current through October 29th. For over 12 years, Southwest TV News has provided the visuals for the defining moments in our community. Support your community and help us to continue our work. Support our sponsors by watching the ads on YouTube and by clicking the ads on our website. Pennies per click which will help us continue to bring you the award-winning news coverage you've come to expect from Southwest TV News. Southwest TV News has released another installment in our Stories from the Great Saskatchewan Southwest series, this time focusing on a Metis family. Canada is a nation of many cultures, tying communities together from coast to coast. The Culture Days weekend was a chance to celebrate this diverse culture, with events scheduled across the country. Metis culture was in the spotlight at the Swift Current Museum, as George Phillips of Regina demonstrated his skills as a Red River cart builder. Phillips has put his carpentry skills to good use by building Red River carts of all sizes since 1998 for various organizations and to use in demonstrations such as the one in Swift Currents, all the while using a variety of wood in the process.
The early carts were mostly spruce because it's just a cheap, easy wood to work with, and it kept costs down for the people we were making them for. And then lately, I have found a fir supplier, like the Douglas fir, which was made to construct the grain elevators here on the Prairies. This guy at Last Mountain Lake recycles it, so he'll actually cut the dimensions I need to build Red River carts. I designed the carts to be easy to disassemble and reassemble, and I did that purposely to work with the kids and anybody who wants to come and learn about it.
Barb Parchman also premiered the documentary History of a Metis Family, another installment in the Stories from Saskatchewan's Great Southwest series. A video which tells the story of Barb's own family's history in the Lac Pelletier area.
People from like my grandmother's generation, some of them were ashamed of being Métis, and they would bury their history and culture. They lost their language, and now in this day and age, when truth and reconciliation is becoming important, and because it's Canada's 150th, I think it's good to raise awareness about the history of Saskatchewan and the history of Canada that hasn't always been talked about in the history books.
Now with the documentary completed, Barb says it will be used as an educational tool in the classroom and abroad.
The video was produced so that it could be used in presentations and workshops to tell people about the history of Métis in Saskatchewan through my family's lens, through my Métis family history lens. It lends a personal connection when I'm making these presentations, and it tells people a little about how a Métis family lived and how they struggled and how they celebrated their lives in the province.
The History of a Métis Family is one of 9 documentaries in the ongoing series Stories from Saskatchewan's Great Southwest, produced by Southwest TV News in partnership with the Swift Current Museum.
I've never had this kind of thing before. To have so many people, especially ones with cameras and microphones, it is absolutely wonderful.
Mark October 18th through 21st on your calendar and plan to attend the CCA Finals Rodeo in Swift Currents. The top cowboys and cowgirls will compete in all of your favorite rodeo events, vying for the CCA Championship title. And wrap up your weekend with the CCA Finals Rodeo Cabaret, featuring Sweet Tequila. Get your tickets now for the CCA Finals Rodeo, October 18th through 21st in Swift Current. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at southwesttvnews.com. And be sure to follow us on a range of social media. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.